Okay, okay. I've been given the okay. We have to spare you from watching that that hideously creepy face as it is expanded in really zoomed in there during the transition screen. So I guess first and foremost, I got to change my splits here. So yes, the game you're seeing here is in fact based off of the movie. That's why it is called the Lawnmower Man. It's I don't want to be the spoiler, but you're not going to see a lawnmower. But there is a little interesting story, somewhat tied to the movie, actually, that kind of involves a different sort of, work of fiction that was also called The Lawnmower Man. We'll talk about that at the beginning here. But I guess to start things off, you can select between these two characters. There's not really any difference. They both function the same. So we just choose Pierce Brosnan just because he's Pierce Brosnan, and with that. I'm probably as ready as I'm ever going to be with this run, so let's get started here. 3, 2, 1, go. So, unlike the Genesis version, you can't charge shot and shoot simultaneously, so we have to be careful with how we utilize our abilities here. Coming up is a skip that I completely missed. This saves a few seconds. Okay, we got second try. I'll take it. It just skips a little bit of back and forth among those. Gosh, I don't even know what to call them. So these sections here are called the cyber sections, and any hit I take here will kill me in a single hit. And coming up now is our first big skip of the game. I'm gonna just clear all the enemies here, and we got our skip first try. So if you want to know what happened there, when you charge shot and jump at a certain point during that charge shot, you gain extra height, and that allows you to clip up on the top of the building there. And it skips an entire mini-boss fight with this car. I'm not joking. It's a car. With the odd time of a guy just randomly coming out and shooting a grenade at you. Alright, so this part here is pretty tricky. Nice, we got it. Alright, here's our second mini-boss here. This is a guy on a motorcycle, doing wheelies, loving life. And we got rid of him pretty quickly. And with that, now we move on to a different type of cyber section. This is a war zone, and you have a gun. And the reason for this gun, and you have a life bar, so you don't die in one single hit. However, bullets here from these Space Invaders take off a lot of health when they actually connect. And the goal of each of these Space Invader sections is to kill 5 of them off in order to move on to the next section. This is pretty much one of the big luck factors of the run, for the most part. There's a number of luck factors, though, besides them, so... And I'll be sure to point them out, because this game is very luck-dependent. On top of all the the nonsense you have to actually deal with when actually running this game. So now we're actually out of Cyber Warzone. We're coming up to the gas station fight. Yes, you get to fight a gas station in this game. But first we're going to take a little trip with this helicopter. Want to actually stay pretty low to the ground here, because if you descend too fast, the helicopter will actually explode and kill you. So, yeah, don't be too don't be too hasty with the helicopter. With flying too high. So here's the mini boss here. Want to try and just do a single charge shot here and then just try to shoot a whole bunch of bullets. Got rid of the first one, but we need to get rid of the second one here. This is also a little bit of luck factor, what these fire snakes do. However, once you get rid of both of them, you have this little safe spot here. And this is why I like this fight a lot more in this version than the Genesis version. Fire snakes in that version are random. However, not to be outdone, this guy is very random what he does. And okay, that's actually a good pattern. We want him to actually walk to the... We want him to go to the left there, because when he walks towards you and takes a charge shot, he just takes the entire thing like a man and just dies instantly. Alright, so Cyber Run. Here's the Mode 7 level. And if you hold down here, you actually gain extra speed. So when combined with the Turbo Ring, you go almost too fast to actually control yourself. And hitboxes here are very ungenerous. I want to try and keep this Turbo Ring, especially for this part, because for whatever reason, this part here, you can't hold down for extra speed. And, yeah, so we want to hold on to this Turbo Ring as long as we can, so that, at least up to this point, since we're likely going to take a hit anyways, because we got a Turbo Ring right here. Now let's see if we can dodge the hazards here. This is pretty hard. Nope, didn't get it. Oh, and I'm pretty low on health here, so I'm going to have to be a little bit careful. Alright. That was pretty close. So, I didn't take a hit to the gas station fight, and this is perfect because now we're going to perform our first big, another big skip in the game here. Going to take an intentional hit to this guy, and I'm going to delay shooting him until now. And this actually despawns the mini-boss there. There was a ceiling clinging enemy there, and so by actually charge shooting when the guy shoots his bullets, it actually despawns the fight because I overloaded the sprite limit. And that ends up... doing that ends up despawning a lot of things. It can despawn CDs, power-ups, enemies themselves. But the main thing we want is for... The main result we want is to despawn the boss fights. Because, I mean, if you can skip mini-boss fights, you know, that's a lot of saved time. And that's especially going to be something that's going to happen coming up after this mini-boss here. And not only that, there's right after skipping that mini-boss that follows this one, there's going to be an attempt at a death warp. This saves 2 minutes in the run. And hopefully I get it. A number of things can happen that can make me fail this, so hopefully I don't fail it. So I'm just going to be quiet here. This is the crunch moment of the run. Alright. So we despawn the helicopter. That's the mini-boss. And hopefully I got it. Nice, we got it. So we just death warped forward to Cyber Warzone 2. That is accomplished by getting killed and entering that door at the exact same time. Which you might think is really a scary trick, but all you really have to do is jump on him like you're Super Mario and hold up to enter the doorway. And as long as you're not holding any button when you enter the doorway after the screen goes black, then yeah, you should succeed in getting the death warp. So it was nice for us to actually get that, and I don't think I've actually been paying attention to my splits here, so I'll once I get past these set of Space Invaders here, I'm gonna... There we go. So, now that we're past the rather most stressful part of the run, we're coming up to yet another mini-boss, and this one's pretty special. Whoa, hang on. What? Okay. Nice. Nice. Well played, dude. Well played. Gonna just take him out there. And get this homing. Okay, alright. I'll take that. I'll take that. So I don't want to open that boxer. That contains a pulse weapon. Pulse weapon is really terrible in this game. Like, it does so little damage. We actually want to hold on to the homing bullets here. And I'm just going to jump on there. There's a faster way of doing that part, but right now I'm just kind of focused on surviving here. Yeah, so that was a row of bees. I know, right? Bees. Of course. So, and no sooner after killing them off, there's another skip here that I'm probably going to fail to do because I have... Yeah, I'm going to fail it. The enemies decide to not do what I wanted. But that's fine because this boss here has a nice little safe spot where I can just cheese him out by staying behind him. And we just have to shoot him like that and, yeah, just deal the blow to him. So, now on to everybody's favorite boss. This is the main villain from the movie himself, Job. And, I know a lot of people love this guy, but man, in a speedrun, he's frustrating. He's very random, how he moves, and there's a point where he likes to move far enough to the right or the left to the point where I cannot hit him, even when holding as far to the right side of the screen as possible. And sometimes he can camp there for a very, very long time. And, yeah, so he can waste a lot of time. Right now he's, okay, as I said that, he was not treating me nice there, but he's treating me nice for the most part. So eventually I want to start, like, rapidly firing, or at this point now I can rapid fire by simply moving up and down rapidly, but instead I'm not going to actually take advantage of that because I'd rather actually take the time to not take hits and optimize my damage on Job. So each time you take a hit, a little bit of your health bar depletes, and that's down at the bottom right corner. Eventually, Job will do an attack where he gets real close. He shoots this giant light ray, I guess. I don't know. You'll see it eventually. He'll do it at least once. So the idea though is that once you do enough damage to Job, you have to direct your flight towards a green hexagon to turn it red. So we're now down to the very last one here, and once we do that, it is the end of the fight. Oh, I'm gonna get hit there, yeah. That attack is actually pretty hard to dodge because it lasts for a while. Oh yeah, and if you actually miss any green hexagons, it's an entire extra cycle that you have to go through, so you lose quite a bit of time. Alright, so now time for one of my favorite parts of the game. For anyone who likes their cheesy guitar riffs, here you go. You know, we've had some pretty creepy tracks in this soundtrack here, but now we got some killer rock and roll music here. We actually want to choose the motorcycle here because you have a much smaller hitbox, and the key thing here is to get as many upgrades as you can starting off. Because starting off, you don't have very good regeneration. And when you don't have that, you tend to take a lot of damage in very few hits, and you can die very easily, and especially consecutively. Nice placement on that red arrow. So unfortunately, in order for us to actually have a fast section here, we need the red arrows, because those are speed boosts. Also, those black spots there, those are oil spills. And if you run across them, you slip and slide like you're on an ice rink or something. It's like you're basically riding the street, and it's... I don't even know where I was going with that. Something to do with roads being icy and slippery. And yeah, so far I'm getting pretty bad luck. You also want to... Okay, there we go. There we go. We finally got a red arrow. Unfortunately, I'm also slipping and sliding because of the oil spill. We also don't want to deal with trucks, but if they do show up and you have missiles, you can actually force them to leave early. So that's one thing about that. So now, okay, we still got a ways to go. Oh, there we go. There we go. Another speed boost. Yeah, so this is basically the entirety of this entire thing. It's an auto-scroller, and it's luck whether or not you actually get an arrow or not to speed boost yourself up. It's so nothing much you can really do if you lose time here. It's just luck of the draw. Just one of the many things that can lose you time due to luck. We're coming up to near the end here, and we're going to face pretty much our last sort of enemy type, which is these red cars here. And they're the most intelligent of the bunch because they will try to cut you off and basically force you off the road and try and take a death. We're at the end, though, here. This entire trip here was just going from the factory to the shop. Shop is the last section of the game. Before we get inside, though, we have to decode the security system by going through Cybertube. I would apologize for anyone that gets dizzy from this part, but if this makes you dizzy, don't play the Genesis version, because that version puts this to shame. Like, it puts it to shame on so many levels. Like, there's a lot of bright colors to go with these type of sections. So these walls here you don't want to touch, and because they'll just bounce you around, and you can lose a lot of health. And coming up here is the only real optimization part of Cybertube. This pack here you cannot progress through Cybertube unless you kill that pack. I've also been told that they will actually insta-kill you if you fail to kill them in time. I've never had that happen, but that's only what I have heard happens. So we can actually just tank all that. And now we got these, I don't know, I guess we'll call them red walls, because that's kind of, they're hazards to dodge. You can shoot them and turn them green, and then they become easy barriers to cross. So we're at the end of Cybertube. Really short section, actually. Only a minute long, which is unlike what you get in the Genesis version. So, the shop is really, really hard. This is the point. The late to end game of this run is really hazardous. And this particular stretch here coming up is arguably probably the hardest for me, personally. I almost need a Soon Energized power-up in order for me to actually deal with the threats here. I'm going to see what this guy drops. Did not drop what I wanted. Going to take this guy out. Okay, good. There's my Soon Energized there. Gives me 5 seconds of invincibility, which is exactly what I want. Oops. There we go. And now we enter Cosmic City, which many people like to joke is Sector Z, and I don't blame you. Yeah, I do it too. Mostly you just want to lay low here and just move up. Only when you see something that you know that you can't dodge. Controlling in these cyber sections is actually really, really difficult. Like, it's very easy to lose control, especially since most people's inclination is to hold the D-pad as long as possible. That is a terrible spot. Okay, good. We didn't actually take a hit there. Due to that ceiling there, it's really difficult to know when to jump over that laser. Thankfully, though... Oh, he actually... Okay, this is going to be a 4-cycle. So, you can actually 2-cycle these scientists. This is actually pretty hard to do. You have to get pretty close to the scientist in order to accomplish this. I'm actually going to grab that just to make sure. And, I'm actually doing good on life, so I'm going to abandon that life, and, oh, never mind. It'll just come right to me. Lucky me. Sometimes the game will give you good luck. And sometimes it'll be really mean to you. Oops. Okay, good. So, because the suit actually gives you a higher jump, you can actually clear that gap, and then the game will actually warp you backwards and activate some iframes. Dang it. I wanted to activate that. The boss spawned. So this is another fight you can actually skip, but I don't know how to do it. I think it has something to do with the guy who is leaning in against the corner of the wall and shooting a couple shots at you. He's that guy with the... He's that guy in blue. He wasn't the jetpack guys, he was the guy in blue. I think that's who I need to have shoot while I try to despawn the fight itself. Right, so now we're on to Cyber Egypt here, and this is also a pretty tricky one. But when you've done this run enough, like I have, you kind of just know when to move which direction. And yeah, I believe there's just one more cyber section now after that. Alright, let's see if we can actually get the 2-cycle on the scientist. Nice, we got it. Now I'm going to actually take an intentional hit to this guy. Oh no, he actually treated us nice. Okay, that's actually perfect. Normally that guy likes to just completely chase you down and make you land on top of him and force you to lose your suit. But that time he actually treated me nice. So, Cyber Office here is actually not very difficult after some of the other ones we've had. So, I don't know why they decided to throw this one as the last one of this type, but they did. But after this one is going to be our last Cyber War Zone. And after that is going to be the final boss of the game, which is Z.O.R.N, who also goes under the title The Doom Player. And I guess I probably skipped all the lore, but I think, as I understand it, Job was being controlled, and the true perpetrator was Z.O.R.N all along. Now, I haven't actually seen the movie, but I believe Z.O.R.N is actually a character in the movie, if I remember correctly. This is some solid luck. Very nice luck. Didn't miss a single Space Invader there. Alright, so I have to still be careful, though, with the beeline shots. Oof, nice lag. Pretty strong. Alright, that'll do. So that's it for Cyber War Zone. And now we move on to the last fight of the game. I have to give a warning, this fight is got a lot of bright flashing colors when the fight ends. I'll hopefully try to warn you when we're on the last phase. This fight is something. So I'm trying to move forward here. But there is an invisible barrier that holds me back. So I actually cannot cross it. And that means my movement here is very, very limited. And this is unfortunate. And hitboxes are very ungenerous. So right now I want to try to lure this guy to the left side here so I can try and get hits more on the right side of him there, because his hitbox is more leans towards the right. Some really good drops here. Oh god. This attack here has a lingering hitbox. He has a lingering hitbox that lasts a while behind it. So you have to be careful how to deal with that phase. We have forced him out of it though, so now we're in this phase, which is also pretty tricky. As you can see, it's hard to dodge it. Everything. Whew, that is almost impossible to dodge there. We should be able to force him into the last phase. After we get rid of this arm, it is the last phase. The last phase here is also one of the most tricky to deal with, but we basically just want to tank the hits. I'm going to leave him alone that time because I knew I wasn't going to be able to take him out there. So time is going to be coming up here pretty shortly. And like I said, watch out with the flashing colors because it's nasty. And there it is. Sorry, everybody. You thought that Porygon episode in Pokemon was bad. Oh no. This video game has something to tell you about how bad flashing colors can be back in the old days. Right, so that run went exceedingly well. Like, just barely missing sub 24 is actually really, really good. Like, and my PB is 27 or 23:07. So I mean, it was a minute slower, but I certainly will take that run because there are many, many ways to lose time just due to luck in general. Thanks for the GGs, everybody. We did it. I actually wasn't sure what the estimate was, since the schedule said it was 30 minutes, and usually that means they set it to a lower time, but they did have it correct. It was 30 minutes. Yeah, so many things could have happened in that run, and yeah, for the most part, none of the bad stuff happened. So, before I sign off, I'm going to name this entry Zas, and I'm going to do that as a nice little shout-outs to my nephew, who nicknamed his character Link in Wind Waker HD as Zas. So, yeah. Been watching him play that game pretty recently. It's the current game he's been working on. And we're almost done with that particular game. And yes, if you just tuned in and wanted to know why is this called the Lawnmower Man, well, there you go. Job was once nicknamed the Lawnmower Man. That was his shtick before he became the intelligent monstrosity that he now is. And yeah, so with that, I pretty much have just one more game to follow this, and that is Pocky and Rocky, or I guess as the version I'm going to be running it on, Kiki Kai Kai Nazu no Koromanto. So